Hi, this is Told Welcome, and today we're looking at an updated version of the Pre-Con Might of the Legion. It's a deck that came out with the foundations. The intro went a little bit long, so I'm going to put it at the end of the video of which cards I swapped out and why. So if you're interested in that, watch. But I think we're just going to start off with kind of how to pilot this deck, and be with you at the end of the video to talk about changing the original deck to this version. Alright, so we got both our colors, which is good. Got some early game, got a little bit of late game. Probably going to lead off with the Evolving Wilds, and I think we get a red source, maybe? So Frontline Rush makes 2 goblins, or later on in the game. Yeah, we're definitely getting a red here. To play correctly, you should wait. Don't give your opponent information. Sometimes when I'm recording videos, I just crack it right away, but this way they think we're probably playing green or something. Badger Mole Cub? Oh, Bloom Tender. And we could crack it here. They're done playing their actions. They played their land, and they played, they're used all their mana, so no problem there. They're not going to play anything. They're not attacking me, I don't think. Get this tap land out of the way. I'd be surprised if they attacked me. Otherwise, if I think they would attack me, I would hold up Frontline Rush to put out some surprise goblins, but I just don't see them attacking me. We got our top end Mythic, 6 mana. They did not tap for that out. Okay. Well, we have everything's instant speed, so we can cast that at any time, basically. These are sorcery, so we can't cast those on the opponent's turn. We have to do those during our main phases. Bloom Tender looks a little suspect. We will block, hopefully. Here we go with the Goblin Surprise. It's more expensive. This could also be used as a better combat trick. And yeah, I mean, they're going to Ouroboros next turn. So we're about, get them down to 12. Next turn we do the same thing. We'll have 6 2/2s. I mean, if they put on an Ouroboros or something. We're still 1 mana away from this, which we have our mana for. But next turn we reinforcements, I think. And then on the following turn, Aurelia. I don't know if that's going to be a good turn, if we'll have anything left. I guess we could Frontline Rush. Give +X, so actually the number of creatures, so that'd be +4. They're 12, too much life total. They have 2, 4, 5, 6 mana available. I don't know what's in their hand. Could be mana screwed, maybe. Maybe they're looking for like blue. They have double white. Bloom Tender makes any color too. Oh no, it's just another permanent, so it only makes green. Double green. I mean, a tough decision on their part, I don't know. Okay. They doppelganged for 1. I thought that was a bad play, I think, on their part. I think we just heroic reinforcements. We go wide enough that next turn we might not even put out Aurelia. I don't know if they can kill us on their turn. Crater Hoof, I guess. Maybe we're supposed to keep 1 guy back for a blocker. Oh, they're just dead. That's for blockers. Well, that's the easy way to play this deck. Is you just slam out and they never block. That's pretty good. I don't know. If they would have blocked with the cubs, at least 1 cub, or at least this land, maybe? And they could have totally got rid of this land. I don't know what they're trying to do. Alright, we got both our colors, and yeah, we don't really have a lot of 1-drops. There was one change that I made from the outro that you'll notice is I immediately went up to 26 lands, because this deck is really mana hungry, surprisingly, and 24 was not even anywhere close. So, we could plot the Sheriff. We could hold up the Lightning Helix. I think we're going to hold up the Resolute Reinforcements. I don't think they're going to attack me, but they could attack. Like, let's say they play a land in Sels Cub, but probably they're not going to attack. So we could use the Lightning Helix, but ideally we want to get the reinforcements out to start getting the board presence. And we could probably put out the Noggle Robber after that. Yeah. Well, that sucks. We have to kill that. I think so. We don't have any chance to do anything, but definitely need to get that off the board. Oh, we don't have the mana for this. Well then. We could plot this, but I don't think so. Damn, we needed that double red. I didn't realize it. Kind of hurt us right there. It could cost us the game. Because ideally we would have Noggle Robber, then we'll have 4 mana, then we could plot this and cast this at their end step next turn. Well, we'll get to surprise them with the Resolute. Take out their Gene Pollinator. But I don't know. It's going to be tough to beat a Innkeeper's Talent without having double red. Yeah. We could hold up the Celestial Armor to block, which probably going to do that. Because if they pump the Siren, it does give indestructibility and hexproof as well. I could just do that crap, yeah. Well, I guess they're pumping that. I guess it didn't matter. Block the Siren, the 3/3. Kill that. Our guy lives. I don't know, this is a tough one. I'm stuck on red mana. So we can do this. I think we still attack them for 3. Oh, we actually can Firebrand. We could plot this. So it'd be a... I think we're gonna have to chump. I guess we're attacking here, that's for sure. And plot this and chump with the Firebrand and give him 1 damage, I guess. I don't know. It's a tough thing to do. So we could block with this and then sack it, because if they don't have trample, it'll eat up the damage. Oh, well that's a problem. They did level up the talent to give double counters. This is going to be a 12. Or more. Yeah, I think that's it. We're just a little slow. That one turn of the Noggle Robber, not being able to cast it, really screwed us up, because I mean, they still would have had the stupid Ouroboros, but we can put him to. We can do 6 damage. That puts him to 9. So somehow we need to find more damage. I don't know what you were thinking. All right, cool. 20 damage is too much for us. Stumbled out the gates. Alright, got our colors. We got a 3 mana. Goblin Surprise. Got our top end. We got a way to kill a creature with power 4 or greater, which we needed in the last game. Where were you? Spectacular Tactics. I think we only have 2 in the deck. So, you know, your chances of drawing 1 in the top 30 cards. I think we, mono red? I don't think we're mono red. I don't know if it matters. Do we kill the Bloom Tender? I think we do. It's kind of a waste of a turn, though. I think we're going to use this guy to do it. Toes Engine. So it has haste, so it could tap right away. And I think that's just the most efficient thing. Well then, that sucked. I think we're Goblin Surprise on their end step. Then we could hold up Lightning Helix if we need it. Could look at more cards. But we can Goblin Surprise on their turn, then Painter Studio on our turn. Or Defaced Gallery. Yeah. Well, maybe we should have killed the Bloom Tender, I guess. Did you get to give double strike? If we get a land? We didn't get a land. Shoot. Do we do this for a land? We're not attacking anyway, right? Oh. Did we were tapped out, right? I mean, they have 4 cards left. We couldn't have done that on their turn. I think we were tapped out. What, were we? Shoot, I think we could have killed it in response and they would have drew less cards. I don't know if they drew 2 cards off of that. Okay. We need a land. Preferably a red land. That's not it. Alright, we're kind of screwed on mana even though we're playing 26 lands. So we're going to hit up the Painter Studio and get 2 cards that we can't cast. 2 useless cards. Great. They're effectively at 10 life. Not that it matters. Man. 10. We don't have the red mana. We can't do it. So this and this. Because we're playing budget. If that was a Fable Passage, it would come in untapped. So that's one of the things to look at upgrading is upgrading the lands. I don't know what we do. What a terrible hit on the Painter Studio, though. 2 cards we can't cast, or don't even want to cast. I mean, I guess we could have cast the Laughing Mad, discard a card, and draw 2. But the fact that we're running 26 lands and we're getting mana screwed is pretty ridiculous. I don't know if they could kill us. Do we need to block? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? I mean, I think that's no blocks, right? I don't know what they could have. Can we kill them, though, is the question. So we're doing 3 from Arabella. Just, full swing? I mean, I don't know. We can't do 10 damage is the problem. We haven't got this unlocked. This has trample. We don't have enough to cast this. So Arabella. Do we gain 5 life? The trigger on the stack? I think we put creatures into play. It hits control for full control. They have a 1 mana spell. Okay. That was a mistake. Good to give indestructibility. I mean, I don't think it matters, right? 7. Yeah. It's just too much. Like the Bloom Tender, being the Zombify actually on the Quantum Riddler is just too much. So we're just dead. I think. I guess we Lightning Helix that. Gain some life. Maybe we're not dead. I don't know. Seven plus 4 is 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Yeah, we'll just scoop it up here. Ugh. I don't know what happened in that game. We're too slow? I guess. We didn't kill the Bloom Tender and they got the mana? Hold the bird, I guess. Where's the early game aggression? Opponent goes first. No early game aggression. I mean, I'll just keep it. But I think that's the problem that we're having. We're just got into a funk of no early game aggression. And probably being on the draw doesn't help. White. We'll plot this, I guess? We probably should kill Tifa here, but we lost like 4 in a row, so I'm good. I'm just gonna do my game plan. You can hit me with Tifa for as much as you want. Put down your Bristly Bill, put down your Fable Passage. Oh. Oh my. No fetch land? You're bad at Magic. Okay. This is instant speed? Okay. They're tapped out? Tapped out? Okay. They don't have protection spells up, so we'll do that. End turn. I don't know if that's the right play, but they probably just have another one. Yep. That's a problem. Not an aggressive start, although this will be pretty good. If we could pump it somehow. I mean, this is instant speed, so we'll just wait. We'll get rid of a mountain. Discard a card, draw 2. We can hold up the tactics if they get something like big and powerful that we're scared of. Shoop-a-poof. That's like gives +1 counters to stuff, yeah. So if they put it on the Chocobo, we could kill it. Okay. They might have protection spell, but let's find out. Nope. Okay. Still looking for some creatures. I guess we're not casting this thing. 1 turn more for this. I think we gonna discard this. Oh, we can't discard the land though. We need the land. Might draw some more lands. Well, not drawn crap. At least they're not doing anything. We stopped them from doing stuff. So we really want to get stuff out before that? Okay, well that sucked. That could have hit. Not creatures, so I don't know what they're playing. Well, this has haste. 1, 2, 1, 2. I guess we just we're gonna dump everything. So I want to get the sheriff out. We need a way to pump. And they're getting a lot of life. We do have Laughing Mad, but I mean, it was a smart choice to get rid of the Firebrand. This thing, if its mana value is 2 or less, you create a lander token, so they got a lander off of that too, because I did the other side. They're gaining life with lands. When you cast a creature spell, you make a beast. You cast a non-creature spell, you put 3 +1/+1 counters on a creature. Okay. Attack me, please. You're not gonna, are you? Man, they're not gonna. Oh, you're fighting my guy. Maybe you will attack now. Oh, you're big boy. Okay. Eight, 9. Do you have another fight spell? Hope not. They can transform the Ride the Shoopa-Poof. Becomes a 7/7. And it has haste. Something to be aware of. They gain 3 life every time they play a land. Damn. Well, that sucks. 1 turn too late, I think. Attack all. Is 1 damage gonna matter? Maybe? We could do this at instant speed. Should we do it now, though? I don't really want to tap out. This doesn't really matter. I don't know. Maybe we should have did that before attacking. Should have cast the Laughing Mad. Maybe even before putting out Arabella. If they have a fight spell, we probably should have kept the Resolute Reinforcements back. Although we're at... I mean, they need to pump the 7/7 to an 8. And then they need a fight spell. They have 1 card left in their hand. They have so much life that they gained. I don't think we can do it. We need like another Resolute Reinforcements. We don't really have a token maker. We need... Actually, we can do that sweeper. If we get that sweeper. Clachan is good. Indestructibility. 4, 5, 6 mana we have. It's looking good. Oh, and that. Whoo, baby. Resolute Reinforcements? Double attacks with Arabella? I mean, I think we have to go for it. Attack all? That's 6 damage, 6 life? Now we send it again? 6 damage, 6 life? Man, we could win this one. They have to deal with Arabella. If they can't deal with Arabella, they got a lot of lands. That's a lot of lands. That was like 3 lands in a row or something. Wow. Do you have trample? I'm worried. Should we double block? I don't know. I think if they have trample, they just kill us. It's fine. I think we got him. Yeah. I don't need to do that, I don't think. I don't know if we did the math correctly. Yeah, Arabella with the Warleader. So, you know, if we didn't get it Ouroboroded, we could do pretty good, right? And that's a really good combo. I wonder how many Ouroboros decks I'll show you. Deck lists I'll show you. I don't know. But, yeah, it's a little bit slow of a deck for a speed deck. We're going to have the complete breakdown, but that last game, I just wanted... It's pretty cool. That was pretty good. Painter Studio, you know, card draw. We probably need to play it as card draw more. So, yeah, the curve is a little bit weird. But, yeah, that's how you play the deck. And now I'll give you 2 my former self to show you the intro of changing out the cards. Ooh, baby, we got a doozy for you. Hi, this is Told. Welcome. We're taking a look at the free-to-play Might of the Legion deck. And we're going to update it and strip you of all your uncommon wild cards. I know you're saying, like, how can you get a starter deck and then have to, craft all these cards? So, this one's going to be a little bit of a long one. The deck list is in the description. You can go to Moxfield, export it, and import it into Arena. Or you could, I think you just copy and paste the deck list that I have in the description and import it in. I haven't never tried to do that, but probably. That being said, this one's going to be a long one, so strap in. But we're going to try to do a little bit different than we normally do these free-to-play decks. But the first thing that we do is we say, Dustborn came out, so bye-bye Guild Gates. I know they're in, what's it called? Foundations? But this one's just a better land. If one or more players has less than 13 or less life, then it comes in untapped. The other one always comes in tapped. We want to get rid of that. The other one that we have is this Wind-Scarred Crag. It enters tapped. We want to try to get rid of the tap lands, but we can't really because we're, cheap and, budgeting. But if I'm going to have a tap land, I might as well do something like the Evolving Wilds, where we're stripping a basic land out, where, we're going to get a basic land, whichever type that we need. It's not going to be a dual land, sure, but we're going to get one less land in our deck, and less likely to draw that. I have like 4 different ones here. I just want to point out, like, we have Escape Tunnel, we have Terramorphic Expanse from Duskmourn, and Vibrant Cityscape from Spider-Man. But Evolving Wilds is just the Foundations one. It's good for 5 years. I mean, they're all commons, so it doesn't really matter which one you use. But I just wanted to point that out. And yeah, we'll just clean up the lands right there. If you don't know, you can come click on that button. It can show you how many lands you have. So we have 26 lands. So we definitely have too many lands. I don't know how we got to 26. It's a good deal to have. Maybe we'll be able to get some other cards in. But first off, Aurelia, the Warleader. So this is what the deck is built around. This is your mythic rare in the deck. It's a 3/4 with flying, vigilance, and haste. So vigilance means that when it attacks, it doesn't tap. Haste means when you cast it, it doesn't have summoning sickness, so you can attack the first turn it enters the battlefield. And then Aurelia also has, when it attacks for the first time each turn, you untap all creatures you control. And then after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So you'll get 2 combat phases when Aurelia attacks for the first time she attacks. And, you get to attack twice, basically. So that's kind of what it's built around. It is 6 mana, so it is pretty expensive, especially in today's meta, with the Badger Mole Cubs and, Worlds just happened, or not Worlds, but Pro Tour, and, the Spell Elementals deck, or, Elementals is there, so, some pretty quick decks for turn 4 and 5, turn kills. We don't have any way to ramp extra lands into play. We can get some treasures, which we'll see later, but most likely this is just a dead card in our hand, but we're going to, keep it and build around it. And then the other thing, the Might of the Legion, is that this deck wants to go as wide. So it has Krenko Mob Boss as your rare card. You tap it to make X goblins, where X is number of goblins. So it's like exponentially increasing every turn. So if the opponent doesn't kill this, at least if you only have Krenko out, you make 1 goblin, right? So then you have 2 goblins plus Krenko, 2 goblins. So then you have Krenko and another goblin. So on the next turn, you'll make 2 goblins, and then you'll have 4 goblins total. Hopefully you have more than one, more than Krenko out. You have a couple goblins in play, you tap Krenko, you make like 3 or 4 goblins. 1 or 2 turns of Krenko should win the game. That being said, Goblin Surprise, we're going to keep this card. It's a really great card, especially, you get to choose. So if you choose, to create goblins for Krenko, that's great. If you choose the +2/+0 until end of turn, works really great when you have 2 combat steps, right? So if your creatures survive, there's possibly 4 damage each creature that gets in for damage. So pretty good. Celestial Armor is another way to take advantage of that double combat step, as it gives the creature flying and indestructible. So it has flash, so you can cast it at instant speed. That's something that new players have to understand. There's a thing called sorcery speed. So sorcery speed can only be cast in your first and second main phases, and anything with instant can be cast basically at any time. We'll just say there's some restrictions, but flash also allows you to cast this artifact or equipment, which is normally cast during your first or second main phases. You can cast this during combat to protect your creatures. You can cast it on the opponent's turn. That being said, it gives the creature flying, so it gives it that evasion. So most likely if you attack with Aurelia and then you attack with the flying creature, you're both going to get in for 2 combats and probably win the game. And then Searslicer Goblin, just a good goblin to make more goblins for Krenko when you attack. It has raid, so after at the beginning of your end step, you'll make a goblin if you had attacked with any creature. This doesn't have to attack, it just has to, one creature has to attack. Resolute Reinforcements is good. It's an okay card. We're going to keep it as is. That'll be the only thing that we don't change. We'll get a couple optional cards. So the Dauntless Veteran is 3 mana, which is double white, which could be hard to cast, since we don't have the perfect mana, and we have, it's a little bit hard to cast, but it is an interesting creature. I was first thinking, it's just a 2/2, and when it attacks, it gives all your other creatures, bonus, right? But this has to attack. But it actually becomes a 3/3 because it does buff itself. And then so multiple of them buff each other, so you could have like 2 4/4s attacking. So it's quite interesting. And I would say, if you don't have the rares, we've got a couple, this little section here or if you don't have the uncommons to craft, you could just keep that one in. But I do think the Painter Studio is a better card, as you could pay 2 for the Defaced Gallery, and then whenever you attack creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So it does almost the same thing. It doesn't give it +1/+1, but it gives +1/+0. But then it has an optional ability. You could unlock the other side, and then you exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you could play those until your end of your next turn. So that way you can get some card advantage stacked in, and then this is like turn 2, turn 3, or more. Obviously if you hit Aurelia on those cards, you're not going to be able to cast it. It's going to suck. But I just think the Painter Studio is just a better card than the Dauntless Veteran. But you could leave the Veteran in. For this video, we're going to take it out. The Frenzy Goblin, not doing it for me. It's just a 1/1. You can pay 1, so you're attacking yourself, just so one creature can't block. I don't think so. Boros Charm is a much better card, so we can give all of our permanents indestructible, protect them from a board wipe, which is very important. You can also give one creature double strike, which is great because if you had Aurelia, let's say, and you give it double strike, and you'll do 6 damage because it double strike hits once and hits second time. And then on the next attack phase, since there's 2 attack phases, you'll hit again. So that's 12 damage with Aurelia. Much better than a 1/1 goblin that taxes you on mana to make a creature unblockable. And then the next one is the Dragon Fodder. Now this does make goblins, and this makes goblins. They both make goblins. The difference is this is a sorcery speed, so this can only be cast on your turn in your first and second main phase. Frontline Rush. You can cast it at instant speed, so you can cast it on an opponent's turn, create blockers out of nowhere, but it also has choose one. So target creature gets +X for X's number of creatures you control. So if you have a lot of creatures, you attack in with a bunch of goblins, they don't block one goblin, you buff it up, and then maybe you kill the opponent. Much better than a Dragon Fodder. Does the same thing. Sure, it costs 1 white and 1 red instead of red and colorless, but if you have 2 lands, most likely you're going to have a red and a white. Yeah, I wouldn't call that one optional. Boros Charm, not really optional. I don't know. I guess these are optional cards. We're just going to skip this section for a second. I guess this is an optional, but we're going to skip it for a second. So there's the Crusader of Ordok. It's a 3 mana, a star, which is power toughness equal number of creatures you control. So it gets bigger the wider your board state is. There's also this guy that's in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So you can craft it if you want. They basically do the same thing, but this gets +1/+1 counters for each creature you control. So if, this guy gets smaller when your creatures die. This guy comes into the battlefield as big as how many creatures you have. Sure, it won't grow as you get more creatures out, but you could plot it, and what plot does is you exile it, and you can cast it later at sorcery speed, and so you can build up your board. So you can, on turn 2, you can put this out, plot it, and then you can wait till you get a big board state, and then you can cast it for free. It's just a kind of an upgrade. They're kind of like similar, but I think I am going to try out the Sheriff in this deck. Release of Dogs, pretty good card. 4 mana for 4 creatures is a great rate. When you get a 1-to-1 ratio of creature to mana, it's really a good rate, I think. But that being said, we got in Lorwyn Eclipsed the Clachan Festival. It creates 2 guys instead of 3. You know, like if it was on rate, it would be 3 for 3 mana, right? But it creates 2 for 2 mana, 2 for 3 mana. But it has that optional ability of a mana sink. So what a mana sink is, you know, you don't have anything to cast, so you just have this mana that's sitting around. So for 5 mana, you know, 4 and a white, you can create a 1/1 creature at instant speed. So at the opponent's end step, or during combat, and you can use it to block with, you know, and then that gives you your 3rd creature and your 4th creature, and has a possibility to be, you know, give you more creatures than Release the Dogs. I really like that. It's an enchantment, Kithkin. I don't know if that really matters for anything. Burst Lightning is a good card. You could keep it in. You don't have to craft Iroh's Demonstration. But Iroh's Demonstration, you know, it's not instant speed, it's sorcery speed, so it does slow it down a little bit, but it gives you the ability to kill that Ouroboros on turn, whatever, 3 that comes down. Because you can do 4 damage to it. It'll get that +1 counter and it'll activate, so it's not instant speed. But also you can do 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls is the other option for Iroh's Demonstration. It's a little bit more flexible card. Sure, it's not instant speed. It does kill bloodletters and all that. So just being able to do 4 damage is a little bit better. It doesn't pair well against the elementals, but neither does Burst Lightning, because you need 5 mana to do 4 damage. So yeah, I think we're going to keep that. Let's just talk about this one real quick. This is a big stack of cards. It doesn't make sense. So the Heroic Reinforcements is the card that came in the deck. It's 2, a red and a white, and you create 2 1/1 soldier tokens, and then creatures you control get +1/+1 and haste until end of turn. So basically it makes 2 2/2s until end of turn that can attack, and it buffs up the rest of your board. I wanted to just point out that we have like other cards that are there. So in Duskmourn we have this one that makes 3 gremlins, and the gremlins you control get Menace, Lifelink, and Haste until end of turn, so they can attack in. So not quite as good as this one is. This is 2 for, so it's 4 power. This is only 3 power, but it does have Lifelink, so that means you're gaining 3 life at minimum, and it have Menace, so most likely it's going to be harder to attack to block these creatures. You know, the opponent needs 6 creatures to block, type of thing. And then if you have something, you know, like Frontline Rush on top of that and 6 mana, good luck. We also have the Sun Warriors. You have Firebending X, so whenever this creature attacks, you get that red mana equal to the number of creatures you control. And so if you have, you know, 5 other creatures on the battlefield, or 5 creatures on the battlefield, you'll get 5 red mana to spend during combat, which you can then use to create an ally token. So sure, this doesn't make like a bunch of tokens right away, but you know, as you're attacking, and even if you just have mana, you know, mana sink that we were just talking about, the Clachan Festival. Dang, these Kithkins and their weird words. There's also this Homestead, or Head of Homestead. So it's 3, and then it's, you know, hybrid mana. So you could spend white, or white-green, or green-green on this one. So it's technically a white card where we would spend white. It's a 3/2 that makes 2 rabbits that are 1/1. So you get 3, 4, 5 power on the board for 5 mana. So it's quite interesting. It's a little bit more expensive, but I just wanted to point that out, that that's in there. And then Forum Posse is also in there. It makes 1/1s for X mana. So for 4 mana, you make 2 1/1s, which is, you know, this one makes 2 1/1s, but obviously you get the benefit of haste and stuff. But for more mana, if you have more mana, you make more 1/1s. So, you know, just a little bit more flexible of a card. So those are cards you could craft if you wanted to and use, you know, any one of those. But I think we're going to stick with the Heroic Reinforcement. We're gonna go against changing, you know, the entire deck. We're going to keep another card. I know it's few and far between. Obviously, you know, the Sheriff you could have kept in, and, you know, Burst Lightning is completely fine, but I think Iroh is just better in this current meta, and probably in the future metas. I think it's this one. This card. Valorous Stance. So this is like another one where you could keep it in, or, you know, we could talk about things. So for 2 mana, you give a creature indestructible, or you destroy a creature with toughness 4 or greater. The toughness 4 or greater is kind of weird. So, you know, Ouroboros comes down, it's 3, so then it gets to pump all its counters, now it's 4, now you can kill it. right? So it's kind of awkward with that. And, just toughness 4. There's a lot of creatures that are like, more power than toughness. Usually you want to kill like power 4. Obviously you can kill a Bloodletter and all that. But we do have some other options. We have Reroute Systems. It's for 1 mana. It gives a creature indestructible. And then you can do 2 damage to target tapped creature. So it's 1 mana. It's quicker than Valorant Stance. But it is, the removal side is less important. But it makes the indestructible side more important. Which, I don't know if we have stuff, we have the Sheriff and the other things that we want to save. Kind of iffy. Battle Menu is just a nice card. It has like 4 different things. Make a 2/2, give a creature +0, +4. So increase their toughness. Deal 4 damage, or destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, which is, in my opinion, the better of the power or toughness, greater than things. Or you just gain 4 life. So it's a pretty flexible card, pretty something you could go with. Spectacular Tactics, you put a +1/+1 counter and get hexproof until end of turn. So hexproof is you can't, can be targeted by spells, like the opponent can't target your creature by spells or effects while it has hexproof. So if they try to kill your creature, you cast Spectacular Tactics to protect your creature, and then that spell that they cast fizzled because your creature now has hexproof. It's kind of how that plays out. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. So a common, by the way, versus an uncommon. And then Moment of Valor is from Eldraine, and you can untap a target creature. It gets indestructible until end of turn. So indestructible is like if something says destroy this creature, then it won't get destroyed, or they do enough damage to it, it doesn't get destroyed. So it's good for attacking and blocking situations where Spectacular Tactics is more of like they target your creature, try to kill it. That being said, if they target your creature with an exile effect, indestructibility is not going to protect it. Or if they target it with the ---- effect, where its toughness is going to go down to 0 because of the ---- then it's still going to die and it won't protect it. But it does have that power 4 greater creature. And then Pyrrhic Strike, 3 mana. So this one's a little bit more expensive, but as an additional cost, you could blight 2, and then if you choose one, but if you pay the additional cost, you get to choose 2. So this destroys a target artifact or enchantment, which is pretty good. Or you destroy a creature with mana value 3 or greater, which is pretty good because it gets rid of the restriction of power 4 or greater type of thing. And a lot of creatures that are 3 or greater mana value are pretty good creatures. So, and for 3 mana, it's a little bit pricey, but it's just kind of what you want to go with. Oh, that's 3 mana too, the Moment of Valor. I think I'm leaning toward the Spectacular Tactics. Although Reroute Systems is pretty good, I think it would be really great. On turn 1, you kill their mana dork. They did get to tap it for mana or whatever other creatures. So it is really good for the early game. And I really like this strike. I would really like both of them. But I think we're going to go with the Spectacular Tactics for this deck. And just keep that in mind. I would probably say these two are also, something I would consider. These other ones, you could do them if you want. But, we're going to go with the Tactics on this one. I don't know if it's the right choice, but I think Hexproof over Indestructibility. We have Indestructibility here. So being able to diversify our options is pretty good, right? The Dawnwing Marshal. It's not a goblin. It's just a cat. It has flying and 2/2. Sure. Really great. But I think we need some more utility cards. And it's going to go. And so we got the Prof. Anthropologist. So it's hybrid mana. It's blue-blue or red-red or blue-red or whatever. We're going to pay 2 red for 0/3. It's, really great. And you can tap it to discard a card and then you draw a card. Or you can pay 1 and sacrifice the Professor at only activate on your turn. So it's kind of like sorcery speed. And you get an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. What's a great instant sorcery card to get back? Frontline Rush, Boros Charm, Iroh's Demonstration perhaps. Where's this here? Heroic Reinforcements, Goblin Surprise. We have a lot of cards that we can get back. So this is, just a really good card. And then it also allows you to filter. So if you start getting land flooded, although we do need to get to 6 lands eventually, but, you could discard lands, you could discard useless cards in a matchup. Arabella, this is a tough one to decide with, but, whenever she attacks, it deals X damage where X is the number of creatures with power 2 or less. Obviously, we have a little Nambo Wombo with Defaced Gallery, but I think it's just worth it to be in there because early on, when you don't have the Defaced Gallery out, most of your creatures are going to be power 2 or less. And it's just, Arabella is the only one that has to attack, so you could leave your other creatures back and they won't get the buff, so they will be small enough. Obviously, Sheriff won't be, but... The next one, controversial. Sarah Angel, classic if you're from 1998 like me. 5 mana for a 4/4 Flying Vigilance. Why it has Vigilance, it doesn't matter. This untaps your creatures, so don't really need Vigilance. It does make it a blocker and attacker, but for 5 mana, I think we can do better. And, I don't know. We got, for 4 mana, a creature that has power equal to the number of creatures you control, and when it attacks, it makes another creature. So it's like Adeline. Back in the day, Adeline was 3 mana and didn't have to attack, but Suki has to attack. So, this is a way to make more tokens. Option B, the Hovel Hurler. It's a new card. I haven't played with it much, so I don't know how good it is. But when you cast it, it gets 2 -1 counters, so it's a 4/5 for 5 mana, which is a decent body. And then you could pay 2 to remove a counter and give a creature flying and +1/+0 until end of turn. You can only activate that as a sorcery. You can't use it for blocking purposes, but it sounds really great. You can pump up your big old Sheriff, give it flying, and attack in, right? And then the other option, option C, is the Twin Maw Stormbrood. We're more looking at the Charring Bite. It's a removal spell, so it does 5 damage to target creature without flying for 2 mana, and then it gets shuffled back into your deck, so you get to, it's an unlimited removal spell. I would pick this one. It's a really good card, but I really want to try out the Hovel Hurler as our big boy. So, while Stormbrood would be good, and I think probably better than the Hurler, I want to try this out. Maybe it's dumb, I don't know. Maybe it should just go Stormbrood, but I want to try the new flashy. What the hell is this? A Dwarven Berserker. So 2 mana, 2/2, it's pretty bad stats, and you can tap it to give a target creature haste. I know why it's in here. The reason why it's in here is so you can put haste on Krenko and use it the moment it enters the battlefield. But this isn't a goblin, so yeah. If we wanted to do haste on Krenko, we'll just do Swift Boots, I guess, because then it gives hexproof. And sure, you need 5 mana to do the whole thing, but then they can't ever target it. So that would be a good one. But we got, finally, what I've been waiting for these free-to-play decks. We got the Destined Confrontation. 2 and 2 white. Each player chooses a number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all other creatures they control. We got a sweeper at uncommon. Oh yeah, baby. Sure, they're going to be left with some junk, but if they're playing over Boroid, they're not going to have any creatures with power 4 or less because all of them are big. So you get to keep 4 of your creatures or less, whatever. And, sure, you'll have to sack like this dude and some other guys, but, you have to sack your big guys. But this, like I said, this comes out as a 4/5. So if you have this with, the counters on it, you could pick him as your creature to keep, and then you have a big boy. So I'm really excited about having a sweeper available to the free-to-play decks, and I really want to try it out. And, I don't know if we're quite built, like this guy. He's 0 power. He gets to stay on the battlefield. All your goblins are 1s. So you'll be able to keep like 4 goblins, maybe the Searslicer Goblin and 2 other goblins, or Arabella. Just seems really great. Next up, we're getting close. Almost there to the finish line. The Gold Vein Pick. It's an equipment that, whenever you deal combat damage. So there is a better one. Oh, that's the Gold Vein. Yeah. What did I do? Ah, dang it. What's it called? What? What's going on? Oh, dang it. It's only going to be around for a year. Yes, here. This one. The Diamond Pickaxe, right? So it costs 1 mana, and then equipment is 2, so it's more expensive to equip. But then whenever a creature attacks, it doesn't have to deal damage, so it can get blocked. Just a better one. If you wanted to go straight up conversion. Is this common? Uncommon. You want to do a straight up conversion. But I think we want a creature instead. And we got some creatures. So we got the piggy bank. It's a 2 mana for a 3/2. And when it dies, it makes a treasure. So we'll get our treasure. We got the Weaver, really great card. You could tap it for mana, green or red. And if you cast a spell of 4 or greater, it untaps. It's a good card, but we have like a limited number of 4s, right? So not the best, but it's an option. I wanted to show it to you. It's a 2/2 creature with reach, so you could block those pesky flyers. And that being said, this is a Goblin. It's 3 mana for a 2/3, not as good as the piggy bank, but it does block the piggy bank. And when it enters, it makes a treasure. So you get the treasure immediately. So then on turn 4, you'll have access to 5 mana type of situation. And it's a Goblin. So pretty good. You know what's better than the Goblin? That's a 2/3? A 3/3 Goblin that also creates... Oh wait, this isn't a changeling. Oh, never mind. This is not a Goblin. But it's a 3/3 that when it enters, it makes a token. When it dies, it makes a token. So you get to get both, which is pretty great. And I think we're going to go with that guy. It's uncommon, so you could go with a Goblin for more Goblin synergies. But I'm going to take the flashy new. It is 3 mana, so it is more expensive than the gold vein pick. But I think for a 3/3 body that makes 2 treasures, possibly, it's pretty good. Almost there. Firebrand. It's a 1/1 with haste and a Goblin. It's pretty good, but I think we're going to go 2 of them, and we're going to go with 1 Lightning Helix, where we do 3 damage and gain 3 life. Some honorable mentions. Soka is an honorable uncommon. So when it attacks and another creature attacks, you draw a card, which is kind of what we're lacking in this deck, is card draw. We do have, 2 Painter Studios, and oh, that's it. It's pretty rough. So some card draw would be good. Also the Wary Farmer. Whenever another creature enters, you surveil 1. So that kind of like drawing a card. You get to look at the top card of your library. If you like the card, you keep it on top. If you don't, you throw it into the graveyard. So that way you get, to better cards later. The Reaping Willow, it's 3 white pips, so it's a little bit difficult to cast. But it enters with 2 counters, so it's a 1/4 when it enters. And you can remove 2 counters for 2 mana and return a creature with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate as a sorcery on your turn. So you can get back, your Arabella or even this dude, right? So it's pretty good, interesting card. Sammy, the ship's engineer. I've never seen this card played, so I would not suggest, playing it. But it's kind of interesting. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, you create a robot. So if you had some vehicles or mounts in the deck, that would be pretty good. Or maybe convoke spells. There is a convoke. So convoke, if you don't know what that is, convoke is you can use your creatures to help pay for the mana cost. So if you had something like protective response, where you destroy target attacking or blocking creature, you could tap 2 or 3 creatures and then kill be able to cast this spell. If you had a white creature, it'll pay for a white mana type of situation. And it's interesting, red has no convoke spells. So that would take a little bit of a build around, but definitely an interesting character that I haven't seen played. Probably because 4 mana for something that doesn't really do anything doesn't work. And then we have Jet. It's a 5 mana, so it's a little bit pricey, but it deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control. And then when it dies, you get to put +1/+1 counters on each of up to 2 creatures. So just kind of an interesting other cards to look at. And the reason why we're 2 up is we got those extra lands. I do want to take a look at lands. So how I do lands is you divide it by 2. So you need 12 red, and then you round up, so 12 white. So we're even Steven. Red. And yeah, probably an Evolving Wilds. Keep it even Steven. So that's our 60. There's a few other cards that I wanted to talk about because lately I've been doing, I guess there's a few other things to look at. We have 16 creatures. We're kind of late on creatures, to be honest. This makes creatures, so this is this makes creatures, so it's a little bit of a lie, actually. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. We have 24 creatures in the deck, so not too bad. But what I've been doing is suggesting one rare or mythic to add into these decks, or maybe one of each. And I didn't put any in this one, but I will give you some suggestions of some cards that would go really good. A Johnny would be a really great card. So if you have a mythic or a rare that you want to craft, Johnny makes 1/1s every single turn, so you just get wide. It's also a removal spell if you -2 to kill a tapped creature, so you could play a Johnny after they attacked you and kill their creature. Howl Squad Heavy, just obvious, gives all your goblins haste, so it gives Krenko that haste. It's a 3 mana, so it curves really nicely into Krenko. So you do Howl Squad Heavy, and then you cast Krenko on turn 4, and then you immediately tap Krenko, and you have you could tap Krenko during the attack phase after you create the goblin as well. And then so that's 1, 2, assuming that they killed the first goblin that was created. 1, 2, 3. So then Krenko will make 3 goblins, maybe 4 if you don't have any other goblins in play. Pretty good one. Gloria, I don't know what it is in the Spider-Man set, but whenever you attack, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, and whenever a modified creature deals damage to a player, you exile the top card of your library, and you play it that turn, so you want to make sure you don't cast spells before combat, if possible, but Gloria would be pretty good. We also, maybe having some other way to modify stuff, so like those equipments, or +1/+1 counter, like this one, is pretty good, so maybe you would go more tactics. This is +1/+1 counter, so it's a modified creature. Yep. Warleader's Call just gives everything +1/+1, and then whenever a creature enters, you deal 1 damage. So really great, easy craft. Remarkable Readings is one that I've had pretty good success with. Usually you want more evasive creatures, like with flying and stuff, but makes 3 1/1s for 3 mana, and then you could tap it, the land that you enchanted with this, and target creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. So it's just a way to make a really big creature. Planeswalkers are pretty cool. As we were talking about a Johnny, Chandra's pretty good. It makes a 3/2 vehicle that she automatically crews and gives haste to on the turn she comes down. And then you can also sacrifice an artifact or discard a card to draw a card. So you can filter cards, and then when she gets an emblem, look out. Whenever an artifact you control enters, I guess we don't really have that many artifacts, so it's just that or the Treasure Maker. And Arabella's artifact. So not, we could spec a little bit towards having more artifacts in play, but you usually don't ult. Usually it's create the vehicle, you crew the vehicle with your little 1/1 goblins and attack type of thing. Bree, I haven't got a chance to play with her yet, but for 2 mana, you can give another creature flying and lifelink, and giving a Sheriff of the Passage that's pretty decent size. Flying and lifelink seems pretty good. And then if you gain life, you get to play a card from the top of your library equal to the amount of life you had, or otherwise you put it in your hand. So you exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card, and then you can cast it if you gain that much life, or you just draw a card. So basically, she's just drawing you cards every turn. It's pretty good. Elspeth makes 2 1/1s, makes all your 1/1s get +1/+1 and flying until your next turn, and destroys creatures. So just pretty powerful planeswalker that we have in Tarkir Dragonstorm for the next year or so. Soul Immolation. We just saw, if you watched my previous video to this, using this in the Gruul Tarfire, and this is a great sweeper. It would be a great sweeper for this deck. I would replace those other 2 sweepers with this one in a heartbeat. You do need a big creature, and you do need a chump little goblin to blight onto, but if you get a big creature, you can blight, 5 onto that little 1/1 creature, and then it also does 5 damage to the opponent's face, so pretty good. Pairing the 2 Aurelias together is pretty good, because it says Flying, Vigilance, and Haste, and when you attack with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. If you attack with 5 creatures, you do 3 damage and gain 3 life, so it's just like, it just synergizes great together. It also, 4 and 7 times 2 is 14 damage, so, if you have those out, and then, when you cast Aurelia, that's 1 creature attacking, so you just need 2 other creatures out and you draw a card. If you have 4 other creatures out, then you're attacking with 5 creatures. It's pretty good. United Front's another nice one. Makes X11s. So I would look at replacing the Heroic Reinforcements. I know we talked about like a bunch of cards with that card, but this will make you, for 4 mana, you get 2 2/2s permanently, right? And then just also buffs any other creatures on the board because it puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So it's way better, right? So you get 2 2/2s. Sure, you don't get haste until end of turn, but it does buff every other creature on the board. And if you have enough mana, you can do more than X and get more than 2/2 creatures. Abandoned Air Temple is a nice land. I guess we're in the land section. For 4 mana, you can put a +1/+1 counter on each of your creatures when you got a bunch of 1/1 goblins running around. Be good. Sacred Foundry and Willow Storm Billow Verge are the lands that I would look at. Probably the things I would look at crafting first if you had some rares, because these lands will be in for 2 years at least, because they're in the recent sets. You can check that here. I think it's these sets. It will be the next rotation in 2027. So when 2027 runs around, those will be the ones that are rotating out. So you could see we have Tarkir Dragonstorm and Edge of Eternities. And these lands, I get there, is Ether Drift and Edge of Eternities. I'll get there. Ether Drift. Boom, right there. Right? So it's still good for 2 years. It's a pretty good deal. That's the deck. Those are the changes that I would make.